Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I'm going to show you my latest design. I'm trying to save space in my pack, so I'm looking for stuff that's fairly small. Weight doesn't seem to be a problem. My weight is good, but volume is starting to catch up to me. So, this is my cook kit. This is an extra container that I rehydrate stuff in. Got a bandana in there to wipe my hands, dry out my pot afterwards. Okay, this is a Snow Peak 600 cup. Snow Peak 600 Mini Bowl Design lid. Matches. I have a couple more fire sources in my pack besides this in case these get wet for the fire police. Okay, this gets a little weird, but hang with me. I put the windscreen right on my pot stand. Since this pot stand goes inside the pot and virtually takes up no space, I decided to go with a wire pot stand. It's very stable. And I left an opening in the front to for fuel lines and to watch the stove and for air to get into the stove. And I left the top loop open for the heat to get out. Okay, now we got to have a bottle of fuel. Put the nipple cap on the bottle of fuel. And here we have basically, you guys that have been following my stove some years will see this right away. This is a Stumpy. Now the reason why I chose this stove is because it has very little internal area. So it holds very little alcohol. And that's what I was shooting for, because the more alcohol the stove holds, the more alcohol you have that you can't use when you get done cooking if you don't burn it all out. So my idea was to have very little alcohol in here and to keep all the extra alcohol as I'm feeding it in this reserve. So when I fill this reserve up, which holds a little less than an ounce, this stove will burn about 15 minutes with one fill. And it will continually feed the stove as the alcohol burns off, so I don't have to keep going back and refueling it. I've got a solid 15-minute burn. So I'm going to let me swing this around so you can see it from where you are. Now when I squeeze the bottle, I will fill this full because this nipple's at the very top, and when it gets full, if this vent, it'll come out the vent. So let me fill this up, and you can also see the level of fuel through the silicone. Okay, that's full. Of course, I overfilled it and ran it all over my fingers. Probably a good idea to pay attention when you're doing that. Just a hunch. Okay, get all the alcohol off of fingers. And before I forget it, I'm going to put some water in my Snow Peak 600 pot. Now, light my stove. Put my pot stand on. And my pot. Put my lid on. Okay, she's up to a boil now. Turn the lights on here. You can see that stove is plenty hot enough to bring things to a boil, no problem. And it's almost perfect. That's usually good enough. Now, one of the other advantages to this right here is that if you don't want it to burn for 15 minutes, you can take this tube off and shorten it up so that when you fill it, it'll burn for a predetermined amount of time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can make it longer, go for 20 minutes, whatever you want to. So that's an advantage also. And because it's always getting fuel, the flame is always the same, It doesn't go up and down like it does when you're filling it by hand. I tried this with a cricket cage, and it worked quite well, but the cricket cage with this feeder on it was really too big for a 16 ounce. I mean, for the Snow Peak 600 pot, was just too much. So I went back to this stove, which I really like. This is the original Stumpy. You guys remember back we made the Solo and the Duo and the Stumpy, so that's what this one is. So I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, have a really great day. Bye-bye.